Bees underline the reality that we are more, not less, dependent on nature's services in a world of close to 7 billion people. A. Steiner. Honeybees are responsible for pollinating over 70% of the world's crops that feed 90% of the planet and 80% of the other plants and flowers that help provide oxygen and beauty. Bees are also counted on by all the other animals on our planet to pollinate their food sources, including livestock. Without honeybees, the entire human population would suffer greatly. We would experience extreme food shortages that could lead to billions dying and cause a collapse of society as we know it. So, what modern-day problems are threatening honeybee populations, and what can people do to help these integral creatures thrive? Let's start with what makes a honeybee a honeybee. Bumblebees are round and fuzzy, while honeybees are smaller and thinner. They also belong to different genus groups. Both types of bees are similar in the fact that they both pollinate and collect nectar, but bumblebees tend to keep smaller colonies and only produce enough honey to feed themselves and their colony, while honeybees are prone to stockpile their honey collections. Because of this, honeybees are used in agricultural practices over bumblebees. The reason for this difference in honey production is because bumblebees do not overwinter or hibernate. Only the queen and a small group of her workers of a bumblebee colony overwinters, but the entire honeybee colony will hunker down for the winter season. Save the bees is a phrase made popular in the past few years as attention has been called to the decreasing numbers of these little critters we rely so heavily on. But what exactly are we saving them from? There are a number of modern-day threats that are harming the Earth's bee populations, including air pollution, neonicotinoid pesticides, diseases, limited resources, and habitat loss. Air pollutants make it harder for bees to sniff out flowers and find their way around, thus reducing the amount of food sources they are able to find. The less flowers and plants bees find, the less they can pollinate. Over time, this causes a serious downward shift in total pollination and honey production for colonies. Neonicotinoid pesticides are a group of insecticides that are commonly used in agricultural practices in urban areas to kill bugs and pests on crops. When applied, they are absorbed into the plant, pollen, and nectar our little friends eat and use in the pollination process. Studies done in multiple countries, including Canada, the UK, and Germany, have proved that these chemicals do not obliterate bee colonies outright, but instead kill them over extended periods of time. The pesticides also threaten bee queens in particular, which means colonies have lower reproductive rates. These pesticides target a bee's natural defense and immune systems. When a bee consumes nectar and gathers pollen from a flower that has been sprayed with neonicotinoids, its immune system is lowered, which makes it more susceptible to naturally occurring diseases and sicknesses. Social immunity is a term used to describe when bees clean out their dead or sick nestmates in order to protect the healthy population. Bees that have been affected by neonicotinoids have been observed to completely ignore this natural hygienic task. This means that one sick or diseased bee can easily decimate their entire colony, including the queen. Limited resources and habitat loss also have a role to play in the dwindling honeybee numbers. Population growth in humans has led to an increase in the need for homes, buildings, and urban areas. Unfortunately, this means that farmlands, forests, and other natural environments have been cleared out to make room for these human activities. Bees are more avid pollinators when there is a variety of different types of flowers and plants available to them. When their natural habitats are replaced, this variety is lessened or completely wiped out. This in turn makes bees less excited about pollinating and producing honey, so they don't work as fast or as well. In some cases, they might fly farther to find new types of flowers to pollinate, and oftentimes they don't make it back home to their nests. This lack of variety not only applies to wild honeybees, but also to agricultural honeybees that are raised on farms solely to pollinate. Some farmers find pollinators scarce in their area, so they resort to raising their own bees to help along the process. These bees typically only have one type of plant to pollinate, in these cases which discourages them from working harder and can reduce population growth. People who raise bees for profit for their honey, jelly, wax, pollen, and propolis, or as a hobby, typically have a greater variety of flowers and plants that include annuals, perennials, and different trees and bushes. Even with all of these threats, there are still a number of ways we can help our pollinating little friends, including reducing carbon emissions and pollution, eliminating harmful pesticides, and encouraging population growth by planting a variety of native plants. Reducing carbon emissions and pollution in the atmosphere is already a hot topic of discussion in the world for a wide range of reasons. Improving bee populations can be added to that list. With reduced pollution, bees are more able to locate flowers and find their way around. This in turn makes them faster and more efficient at pollination. Pollution also lends a hand to bees having a weakened immune system. Removing the use of neonicotinoids as a pesticide in crops. This type of pest removal and deterioration is used because of its low toxicity to mammals, but as recent research has shown, it is very harmful to our pollinators. There are a number of other pesticide options available to use on crops that don't harm mammals or bees but still deter pests. The reduced or eliminated use of neonicotinoid pesticides on crops greatly help bee populations' immune and defense systems return to their natural state of operation, thus reducing the amount of sick and diseased bees. There are also a few different ways the everyday person can help promote population growth among local bee colonies. Honeybees love to have a variety of different flowers to buzz around to. By planting a diverse array of plants native to the area, quality of life for bees will improve drastically and will in turn encourage population growth. Both honey and bumblebees are often mistaken as pests and sometimes can find strange places to build their nests. By educating yourself and others on the differences between the different types of bees, wasps, and hornets, you can help prevent the wrong insects from being killed. You can always call your local honeybee farm and have a beekeeper safely remove bees and rehome them in a new environment. Honeybees are one of the most important creatures on the planet that often go unnoticed. Without them, we would lose 80% of the plants on Earth and would face catastrophic repercussions. It's important to be mindful when starting new construction projects, choosing landscaping, and pest repellents. As humans, it is our responsibility to help and protect our fuzzy little pollinators.